Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, the private sector gives government a thumbs up in its approach to security on the weekend. Government to strengthen disaster resilience with an injection of funds, and 6 CARICOM countries sign protocol on contingent rights. The details of the news coming up.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
First up in the news, based on police reports, Sunday's curfew seems to have been strictly enforced. The police public relations officer is reporting only 4 arrests during the period the curfew was in place, a curfew which was imposed from Sunday afternoon at 4 and scheduled to end Monday afternoon at the same time, was discontinued Monday morning considering we were spared the worst of the weather system. The action to impose the curfew is an improvement on what happened during Hurricane Maria, when police came under heavy scrutiny from private sector organizations and others for widespread looting, which later came to be known as the human hurricane. Part of the reason for imposing a curfew is merely to protect life and property before, during and after a disaster, natural or otherwise. In other news now, President of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, Kira Thompson-Ed, has given a vote of confidence in the approach by authorities towards security for this hurricane season. Here is Idona John Baptist with our report.
Proactive measures implemented by the police force ahead of Tropical Storm Beryl on the weekend won the favor of the business community. Cabinet took a decision to declare a state of emergency, causing heavy police patrols in the city and suburbs and a curfew period starting from 4 p.m. on Sunday. DAIC held discussions with the Prime Minister on Saturday, and the chain of command of the police force also met with the wider private sector.
The DBF had actually met with the police a couple of months prior to that, and we believe, and the Chief of Police did make mention of that led towards the integration of private sector meeting with the police. We have to commend the police for their action. We appreciate that. We were also pleased that the Prime Minister did call DAIC into a meeting with him right after Cabinet on Saturday to brief us on what the plans were with regards to the national response strategy. With the meeting with the police, there was a huge turnout from private sector, which shows that private sector does want to work. They do want to have the partnerships with the necessary arms of security, national security across the island. Not just Roseau business owners were present. It was welcomed. It was a briefing of their basic action plan and operation order.
The private sector, through national groups that represent their interests, expressed a lack of confidence in the failure of the security apparatus of the state after widespread looting post-Hurricane Maria. The DAIC president says business folks have seen a good sign of the change they have been calling for.
In terms of us moving forward from our experiences, learning from them and applying from those learnings, I definitely do see a difference, and we're grateful that we had that opportunity to meet with the police. I feel more assured, quite honestly. The directors for the company that I work with felt secure with regards to the action plan that was put in place. Other business owners that I spoke to, including directors on the board, all felt that it was a good action and strategy on behalf from the police aspect of things.
Referring to incidents of looting in St. Martin and Puerto Rico post-Hurricane Irma and Grenada post-Hurricane Ivan, Thompson-Ed agreed it's not an unusual occurrence.
It's a natural progression. The ability to control a situation, however, comes down to how well equipped are you, how well trained are you, and what was your plan of action prior to the event to allow you to have your response mechanism in place. We firmly believe that this was an opportunity for us to test the apparatus. We would want to make a call to the private sector. Were your business continuity plans put in place? Would they have been effective? Did you notice any gaps? If you noticed any gaps, you need to fix them now. The general public, did you wait until the day before to stock up? Or did you start stocking up since June 1st?
And communities are expected to beef up preparation for and response to disasters with an injection of funds from government. Prime Minister Skerrit pointed to this as among the gaps being addressed to boost the capacity of communities during the hurricane season.
We have been able to build greater synergies between NIPO and the local level, and we have identified some gaps that we have been able to fill in the interim, but we have long-term solutions, medium-term and long-term solutions to this. So, for example, one of the issues that we have addressed is the issue of some minimal access to, some basic access to funds at the community level. So those communities will be empowered with some resources that they can acquire things that they will need to put in place. Resources, services or goods they will need to acquire to ensure that their response mechanism, their planning mechanisms are better fulfilled. So that is being done, and of course the ODM will be in touch with those committees as to how they go about accessing those resources.
Mr. Skerrit said the funds have already been approved for that purpose.
As I've said, we can do all of the planning we want at the NIPO level, and we can ensure that we have all the bases covered as far as NIPO is concerned. But if at the local level, this is not filtered down, and there is not the robustness of the planning at the local level and the commitment, then we'll have a problem.
In other news now, the Welfare and Relief Supply Subcommittee of NIPO has entered the 2018 hurricane season more prepared for the worst-case scenario.
The Welfare and Relief Supplies Subcommittee is responsible for, among other things, locating and assisting with the movement of elderly and disabled people from their homes to a shelter and the subsequent provision of food and supplies for these groups of people. Acting Chief Welfare Officer, who is also the chairman of this subcommittee, says the overall impact of Hurricane Maria on the country had alerted the committee to some things that need to be improved for the 2018 hurricane season.
Nobody expected that magnitude of storm, so it kind of took all of us by surprise at the last minute. And because of the great magnitude, the entire island was affected. Now, the committee, which consists of members who mainly, I would say, even concentrated in the Roseau area. So for those persons in the outer districts who would be affected, the committee in the very early stages could not have assisted them effectively, maybe after about a week or two or so.
Morvan says moving forward, the committee will make use of a newly formulated document which will allow for better record keeping of those under its watch.
We have a special, well, I should say a form that is being developed, and we'll be using that to be able to gather information and pass on to the chairman of the National Emergency Planning Organization. So we have been preparing, and as you know, the strong word now is resilience. So resilience doesn't just mean building a strong house, but also in terms of preparing persons mentally, you know, that too. So, but we have really been planning and putting things in place.
The Welfare Subcommittee includes the Dominica Red Cross, Dominica Christian Council, the Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Dominica Infirmary, REACH, the National Youth Council, and the National Council of Women. As regards the passage of the tropical wave, formerly Tropical Storm Beryl, over the weekend, Morvan says the committee was mobilized and on standby. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
In police news now, we have an update for you on last Wednesday's drive-by shooting in Newtown, which left a 27-year-old Kerry George dead. We now have pictures of the two suspects in that shooting, 22-year-old Jason Telemac and 27-year-old Leon Etienne, both from Lubia and wanted by the police for murder. Police have been appealing to the public for help in apprehending the suspects, but to date they have not been found. There has been speculation that the men have fled the country and are now in a neighboring French island, but we have no official confirmation of that. If you have any information about the whereabouts of the suspects, please call police headquarters at 911. You're watching Channel 5 News. More after the break.
Si ou ni maladie HIV et bien maladie sexuelle, si ou pas protéger corps lors qu'on est sexe avec plusieurs monde, ça peut mettre la vie ou à gros danger. Ou peut exposer tout partenaire au poison et que ça qui va venir avec maladie. Servez un condom chaque fois ou qu'on est sexe. Changer qui est important pour découvrir maladie à bonheur ou ça vivre un bon sortie même si ou ni maladie HIV. Pour responsabilité, protéger corps et puis les autres. Examiner corps. Aider du bout si même maladie HIV et l'autre maladie sexuelle.
Thank you for staying with us. An international aid organization based in Dominica is hoping to produce a child-friendly component to be added to the local school curriculum.
The Israel Forum for International Humanitarian Aid, IsraAid, is here carrying out a number of development projects around the country. IsraAid worked hand in hand with UNICEF and the Ministry of Education to develop safe spaces for children following Hurricane Maria and operated 22 child-friendly spaces until April. IsraAid recently wrapped up one of its major projects for school children.
The main project that was being done here through the last few months is 6 sessions in all 72 schools on island, which children addressed the hazards, capabilities, and vulnerabilities of their communities. Really impressive session. Children were getting feedback. The children were very engaged. They were very informative sessions and helped the children kind of look around and see more of what's going on in their communities and how can they address these hazards and vulnerabilities, and of course to also recognize their capabilities and what they can do about them.
IsraAid is hoping to have a modified version of these sessions incorporated into the school curriculum for the continued development of the children.
Going forward, we're doing we want to amend these sessions. They were pretty long, about 2 hours each one, so we want to amend them into 45 minutes and get it into the curriculum of the schools. Also, hopefully get them into the ECD centers, the early childhood centers, and the special schools on island. This is something that we really want to do. That's on our agenda for the coming months. We do get the feedback that the sessions were informative, relevant, had the opportunity for the children to discuss the issues, think about them, be creative with the subject, and I hope everybody gained from it.
Asaf says the ultimate aim is to help Dominica prepare a more resilient education system.
We're having school drills, hopefully after school starts in September or October. Our aim is preparing the schools and the education system to emergency. And emergency in Dominica is weather issues. Either it's earthquake or tsunami or landslides or hurricane, God forbidden, but these might happen, and our mission here is to help the children and the school staff to be more prepared whenever that comes.
In other news now, the weekend's weather system has impacted a program of activities organized for the observance of this year's Cooperative Week, forcing organizers to reschedule the activities. The week of activities was supposed to have kicked off last weekend with events on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, but most of these items had to be shelved due to the approaching weather system. Media Day, which was scheduled for Monday, was also postponed as a curfew imposed on Sunday was just discontinued Monday morning. However, organizers say Tuesday's community outreach in Biosh to include secondary and primary schools is likely to go ahead as planned. Items on the program to include a beekeeping stakeholders conference at Prevost Cinemall on Wednesday has also been pushed back. A community outreach in Roseau and environs on Thursday and youth in agriculture symposium on Friday have all been rescheduled for late July or early August. And relocating to the Dominica Grammar School during an impending storm will have to be custom for displaced residents at the temporary housing settlement near the Forestry Division. Here again is Idono John Baptist with a report.
The authorities took the precautionary move with the advice that people living in low-lying areas or near waterways should move as Tropical Storm Beryl approached the island. For residents at the temporary housing settlement situated near the Roseau River, that meant they had to seek refuge at the Dominica Grammar School building, a designated hurricane shelter. A Portersville mother of 2 girls who lives there endorsed the decision by government.
The government, I find they should have warning plan, like everybody should vacate, and we did just that, and I find it was awesome. It's a good idea because you never can tell. It will be a habit forming. Every time you hear about the weather, you have to really move, especially with hurricanes and storms, and living close to the river, you can never tell. So we had to get out. We had to evacuate. And that was a good idea that I had to evacuate with my children, because what I passed through Maria, in Jesus' name, I don't want to pass it again with flood waters and those kind of things there.
Floods associated with the September 18 Hurricane Maria devastated several homes at Portersville, and Bedministers at 61 Porter Street was not spared. While she says she likes her current location, Bedminister describes as hectic the extra mileage her daughters have to go through to get to their school, the Goodwill Primary, when compared to the short distance via Portersville. Her assurance is that reconstruction of her property is ongoing with the state's support.
I have my own land at Portersville, 61 Porter Street, and the government have started building for me. They have did the foundation already. So as they told me, it's a matter of 4 to 5 months again, I'll be home, because the foundation is the thing that takes the longest period, in building. Foundation does take like 2-3 months alone, or more than that, because it's a lot of steel bending, a lot of, hard work, and when they put the dirt in, it have to go down before they just go and put the temporary casting on it. But in Jesus' name, it will come through. And I'm praying by September, October, later down this year, I won't be there.
And from the region now, 6 CARICOM countries have signed an agreement making it easier for CARICOM nationals to have their family join them where they currently live and work. The signing of the protocol took place last Friday at the end of the 39th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Jamaica. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness and 5 other leaders signed the protocol on contingent rights. The leaders of Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, Suriname and Haiti signed the document. The agreement is believed to be critical for the success of the Caribbean single market and economy and the free movement of skills across the region. The Jamaican Prime Minister believes the protocol will ensure family reunification through the granting of important rights to spouses and dependents of citizens that move across the region to work. He believes this is a crucial step to making CARICOM more functional and relevant to the people of the region. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Private sector gives government thumbs up in its approach to security on the weekend. Government to strengthen disaster resilience with an injection of funds. And 6 CARICOM countries signed protocol on contingent rights. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.